Welcome to our Peccha Kuccha presentation by Kyle Keevers, Alex Steen, Brice Ellington, and Kyle Meyer. A Peccha Kuccha presentation is a 6-minute and 40-second presentation of only 20 slides with 20 seconds per slide. We will be comparing and contrasting two essays, so stay tuned. This presentation is going to be a Peccha Kuccha presentation. The Peccha Kuccha involves 20 slides with only 20 seconds of allowed time for each slide. It ends up to be a 6-minute and 40-second presentation. We are going to accomplish this task with this presentation, but before we get into the meat of each piece of literature, let's talk about what a Peccha Kuccha really is. Peccha Kuccha is a Japanese word that means chit-chat. It started in Tokyo in 2003 when a group of workers and businessmen created this type of presentation to shorten the amount of time allowed to get a presenter's ideas across. This turned out to be a great invention because it was great for young workers with short attention spans. Now here is an example of a more American version as we use this type of presentation to compare two elements. In this presentation, the two literature pieces we will be comparing are Short in Time, a creative nonfiction short story written by Billy Sveen, and also The Negro Speaks of Rivers, a poem written by Langston Hughes. Let's start with the comparing and contrasting. The short story, Short in Time, is about a man named Billy who goes to take care of a physically disabled and mentally challenged man named Jimmy. His job is to help Jimmy prepare for his own job on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the morning. The creative nonfiction short story, Short in Time, is about a job that a medical school student has taken care of a person with a severe disability. It is an essay about the struggles and benefits of taking care of a person who is completely dependent on other people, but is still just a regular person. The poem The Negro Speaks of Rivers is about a man that is recalling back on his childhood and the various activities he did around rivers. He uses vivid imagery and literary devices, like metaphors, to explain his experiences as a child. The Negro Speaks of Rivers is a poem by Langston Hughes, a popular American author. This poem is about rivers and how they shaped him and his people. The Negro Speaks of Rivers is the first great poem written by the influential American poet Langston Hughes. Both of the stories that we will be comparing have numerous literary elements, but the ones that we will be focusing on are style as well as personification. These both appear in the pieces frequently, but in different ways and also in different various methods of expressing the elements. We will also be exploring how personification plays a role in these two stories. Personification is an element that gives human-like qualities to an inanimate object or abstract notion. Some examples of personification would be the trees danced back and forth in the wind. Personification is most commonly seen in works of fiction, where cars can talk or wolves dress up like grandmas. However, personification is also seen in many nonfiction works, such as The Negro Speaks of Rivers and also Short in Time. Now we are going to delve into the examples of personification in the two stories that we chose. One example of personification in The Negro Speaks of Rivers is the line, "I bathed in Euphrates when dawns were young." Being young would be the human-like quality, and the non-human object would be the river. Another example of personification that relates back to the river in the poem by Langston Hughes is the line, "I heard the singing of the Mississippi when Abe Lincoln went to New Orleans." The human quality of singing was given to the non-human object, the Mississippi River. Now relating back to the other story, A Short in Time uses personification to illustrate in greater detail what is going on, and it makes the reader understand what is happening. For example, in the second paragraph, the author describes what he is going to do to get ready in the morning while using many forms of personification. Another line in the story is, "My muscles remember exactly where the toothpaste hides behind the nearly empty bottle of melatonin and where the cream cheese rests in the otherwise empty fridge." He says that the cream cheese is hiding and that his muscles remember where his toothpaste is. It changes up the style of writing to make more sense. The second rhetorical element seen in both pieces is style. Style is a manner of an expression. It is an element used to show how a speaker feels about the work he or she is writing about. It is pretty much how the writer is able to say what he or she is trying to say. Style is seen frequently in both works and really makes each story more passionate and meaningful. In Wake Me Up Before You Go Go, the writer stays calm and peaceful throughout the story. This is the writer's style that he expresses in his essay. When he goes to this child's house every day, he has to keep his cool and cannot get frustrated. It is a very challenging job, especially with the time limit he has every morning with the bus. This picture represents the author's calm attitude, which is an important factor in dealing with the rhetorical. When Negro speaks of rivers, the author's form of style is a little bit different. In this short poem, Hughes talks in a more personal sense that relates more back to himself. He writes this poem with passion and deep feeling to the river and environment around him, which is his form of style. This is different from the previous essay, in that the author talks more about himself. There's also little action in this poem. In the first story, Wake Me Up Before You Go Go, the author loves his job every day. He wakes up so early in the morning and gets so frustrated inside that I'm surprised he just doesn't quit and leave. He loves his job, though, and likes helping Jimmy every morning, and even though it has lots of lows, the highs are worth it for the narrator. The picture represents his determination and love for his job. The last form of style is about how the author gives multiple examples to express his point. This tactic helps the author get his message across in a very beneficial way that really relates to the reader. This picture represents a river, like Hughes talks about, and all its many paths and properties. The author always talks about a lot of different qualities of this river, and all the properties relate back to his style.